Good evening, you're watching Hungary Reports, starting off public media and one's foreign language news hour. I'm Moshe Flum, thanks for joining us. In a secret ballot, the European Parliament voted with a narrow majority to support Ursula von der Leyen as the next president of the European Commission, making her the first woman to hold the EU's top executive job. According to the first analysis, while the left wing did not typically support the German Christian Democratic politician, the right wing did back her. Her nomination also means that the Hungarian government and the other Visegrad countries have reached their goal, as they didn't want the former top candidates, either Manfred Weber or Franz Timmermans, to lead Europe in the next 5 years. Von der Leyen's mandate will officially begin on the 1st of November and will last for 5 years. Meanwhile, the campaign against the ruling Fidesz party further continues in the European Parliament. According to recent news reports, nearly 200 NGOs asked the European People's Party in a joint letter not to nominate any Fidesz representatives to be leaders of the EP committees. The Hungarian opposition parties, such as the Democratic Coalition, the Hungarian Socialist Party and the Momentum, admitted that they also worked for the same reason. According to the government parties, as they put it, the Soros network, together with Gyurcsány and his party, are campaigning against the anti-immigration representatives of Hungary.
Balázs Hídvégi was one of the main communicators of the Orbán government in recent years. This is the main reason why the group of European NGOs says they don't want Fidesz representatives as vice-chairman of the European Parliament Committee on Civil Liberties, Justice and Home Affairs, often referred to as LIBE Committee. In a letter written to the European People's Party, the European Civic Forum says the Hungarian government's policies go against the goals of the LIBE Committee, and it warned the faction to reconsider their votes if they don't want to weaken the trust between the EPP and NGOs, and to propose candidates who are strongly committed to democracy and human rights. The lobby of left-wing liberals is also proved by a letter M1 News got a hold of, which was distributed among politicians of the socialist faction. In the letter, the Socialist Party thanks them for postponing the election of Fidesz representatives. They did not know about this letter, but they still knew what they had to do. This is what the spokesperson of DK said. Former Prime Minister Ferenc Gyurcsány's party reinforced again that they were proud of lobbying against Fidesz, just like their EU political group, adding that this is what they'll continue to do as they believe Fidesz is the enemy of the European Union. According to the governing parties, it is unprecedented and outrageous that Ferenc Gyurcsány's party is campaigning along with the pro-immigration Soros network against anti-immigration Hungarian politicians. They don't want the voice of Hungarian people to be heard in the European Parliament through the Fidesz and KDNP faction and in standing committees such as the LIBE Committee, which until now have been under the influence of the Soros network and which is the #1 body preparing pro-immigration proposals, Lőrinc not just said. The faction spokesman also stated the more socialists want to silence Hungarians, the more governing parties will work on having their voices heard in the EP and stopping pro-immigration forces.
The National Association of Hungarian Blind and Visually Impaired has launched an application called TAVSZEM to help blind or partially sighted people. A total of 800 visually impaired people will receive smartphones, and if they ever have any questions or encounter problems because of their poor eyesight, they can call the operators who will navigate them remotely with the help of the phone's camera. The idea is said to be unique in Europe. In addition, people with disabilities also work among the operators.
This is TAVSZEM service, Anikó speaking. Welcome, how can I help you? I'm Ágota Lukács from the press conference, and my task is to read out a piece of paper together. Here's the paper. Ágota Lukács was born blind and lives alone. She's one of those who was given the opportunity to try out a new application in her daily life. The essence of the so-called TAVSZEM service is that operators who can be reached with the help of smartphones application can navigate the visually impaired remotely by telling them only visually available information which they cannot see but are in need of in a particular situation. When I had to find the carcass of a decaying animal in my yard because when I arrived home I smelled something unusual and stinky, so I wanted to get rid of it. Did you call the service then? Yes, and then we looked for the animal in the big garden together. And then the operator team also worked out a strategy for getting rid of the carcass. But by then, a sighted person had arrived and helped bury the animal. Ágota also works as a mentor in the program, helping her fellows learn how to use the smartphones and the application. The tender has created nearly 50 jobs for people, of whom more than half are employees with disabilities. We are very proud of that, the professional leader of the Tissa project said. She added the service is assisted by 22 mentors, and the phone calls of the visually impaired are answered by 13 operators who took part in a complex training.
The idea of restarting summer camps in Hungary has been an overwhelming success. In 2017, forest and water camps were announced on an experimental basis. But since then, children have had the opportunity to participate in cycling camps as well. And the success measured in numbers indicates that more than 11,000 students will spend a few days in summer camps this year.
The backpacks were filled and children were off to their 70-kilometer hike in the Bakony Mountains. I like that we can try out many things. For example, we sleep in tents, yet sometimes we're lodged in houses as well, this girl said. All 22 kids participating in this summer camp come from Pest County. They will be hiking for a week in the forest. We'll see beautiful places, walk around a lot and relax, this girl said. Teachers of the children also accompany them on their hike in the mountains. They say they get to know each other and their surroundings better during the camp. What they see during hiking are trees and the nature, which they don't necessarily see at home where they might not have time to appreciate it. This is not the only interesting part of the camp. It's also interesting to see how they interact with each other, the head teacher said. Next to 6 others, this hiking trail in the Bakony Mountains was also created as part of the National Summer Camp program. Accommodation and catering are provided by local forestries. Last year, we only had 5 hiking trails, but taking the growing interest into account, next to the other routes, we designed new ones in the Vasy Ridge at the feet of the Alps and in the Zemplén Mountains as well, the Secretary General of the association said. Not only forest, but water and cycling camps will also be organized this summer on 19 different routes. Nearly 11,000 children have applied. The organizers' goal is to get participants closer to nature.
A program will be launched for the cleaner river Tissa. This year's flood took 8,000 tons of garbage, more than ever before, to the Kisköre water dam. Since then, the area in front of the power plant couldn't have been cleaned. However, cleaning works are ongoing 12 hours a day. The most serious problem is that the same situation happens every year. River Tissa is continuously bringing rubbish from the Romanian and Ukrainian section. But unfortunately, a great amount of waste is put in the river in Hungary as well. Hungarian General Directorate of Water Management is trying to change this situation with the cooperation of one of the major beverage manufacturers and with the help of civilians. The Ship Model World Championship kicked off in Bank, Nógrád County. More than 300 participants from 17 countries will compete during the week at the international race. Demonstrating their skills individually and in teams, the competitors sail their remote-controlled model boats across different tracks on the lake. The judges also look at how lifelike the model boats are. The competition will last until next Tuesday. The visitors can expect spectacular fights at Lake Bank. The art colony in Jula celebrates its 50th birthday this year. The creative camp has grown into a real spiritual school during the half-century. Painters, applied artists, sculptors from the Persian and from every corner of Hungary arrived to join the artists' colony this year. Every year, several young people or entrants visit the colony as well, who are happy to be taught by experienced artists. Those interested can see the completed works at the Erkel Ferenc Cultural Center in Jula on Thursday. That's all for now, but we'll be back tomorrow night at around the same time, and you can catch Hungary reports online as well. Please stay tuned for our German, Russian, and Chinese language news. Thanks for watching. Take care. Good night.